What happened was people stayed away from the polls. They clearly stayed away at polls. A big chunk of the people didn't vote this time who did vote in November. And those were the Wiener supporters.
And it was an off-year election, so that's common to have much fewer people voting on an off-year election.
So they're saying, like, what brought the people out to vote for turn, and the media is going, oh, it's because of this and it's because of that. And I'm saying, I don't know if I agree with any of that, because it wasn't like a slam dunk that people went out and voted for Turner. I think it was that people were disgusted by Wiener.
Yeah.
They weren't happy with Obama, and the people who normally go out, you know, your Jews who, you know, live in that, you know, who are secular Jews,
yeah,
who always vote liberal, right? And they refuse to vote for a Republican, and they're not gonna, they hate it. They were disgusted by Wiener. They're disgusted by Obama. The guy who is trying to run in Wiener's spot reminds them of Obama, and they just stayed away from the polls. And they're the ones, by virtue of not voting, that's the quiet majority. They allowed what's called a pocket veto. Do you know what that is? Do you know that expression? Is anybody,
yeah.
A pocket veto. They pocket vetoed their guy.
Yeah.
You know, and they by not showing up allowed the Republican to win, and the Republicans were motivated to come out and vote. The Republicans wanted to come out and vote. So in essence, you're going to say, well, no, it wasn't the secular people who voted for this guy. I believe that's true. It was the Frummies, who are a very small minority, right? The Frummies voted for this guy who won, but less of them voted than did last time. The people who won this thing were your secular, pork-eating, shiksa-marrying, secular Jews, these liberals. They elected the guy by not going to vote that day. It's what they didn't do that caused the... And I think they're fine with it. They just didn't want any part of it, and they're done. Your opinions?
Well, let's talk about me. Let's talk about my talk on sex addiction at Bina, LA. So it was a talk at the Mark at 9230 Pico Boulevard, I believe, and about 200 people showed up. So I was the second speaker of the night, and the crowd was like 21 to 45. And the first speaker went long, way past his allotted time, spoke about the economic causes of terrorism. And then I got up, and so I used various pictures from of me hanging out with penthouse pets and porn stars. And I'd show them the picture and say, okay, you know, you can see that forced smile on my face, but look in my eyes, you can see I'm crying inside. And then I'd show them another picture and I'd say, look in the eyes, you can see that I'm all broken up inside because I'm in the grip of this sex addiction. Then I'd show them another picture of me hanging out with some, you know, scantily clad babe, and, you know, I got this big grin on my face. I'd say, but look underneath the grin, look into the eyes, look into my neshama, and you can see how I'm suffering. And so I showed them these pictures, and then I'd give them some slides on sex addiction and like what it constitutes and what 12-step programs are like. And I'd say, okay, so this slide is your vegetable, so I want you to digest this information, then I'll tell you another lurid sex story. And so I told them about how I dated a porn star, Haley Rivers, an ex-porn star, and she'd done this one scene which I found very painful to deal with. And so I told about the scene to a friend, and he wanted me to feel better, so he said, well, at least you know she isn't racist.
Well, you told us that story a couple of weeks ago.
Right, but I hadn't told the Bina crowd, and I had to do it in a very classy way. This is like a very intellectual-oriented salon, so I couldn't say, you know, oh, she was doing a scene with two black guys. That wouldn't have gone over. This is like a secular liberal group. So I just said my friend, and those who understood. At least I knew that she wasn't racist. So it was fun. I got some questions about what did I think about kosher sex toys. And it said sex toys, whether kosher or not, if they enhance a relationship and bring two people together, make them closer, then that's fine. But if you start fetishizing objects and start pursuing intensity in sexual relations rather than intimacy, then you're likely to go off the rails. So it was a fun night, and I did well, and I'd like to give a lot more talks. And they videotaped it, and it should be going up on YouTube soon.
Oh, okay, cool. And
then I got to speak to a lot of women after the talk, so
okay,
I got to share
one thing at a time.
My wisdom.
One thing at a time. Did you think that the reaction to you was one of shock and dismay in the room while you were talking?
No, I think they had fun. I think they were amused and had fun.
Oh, and
it was a secular group. It wasn't.
Oh, and they were all horny as hell, probably.
I wouldn't judge whether or not they were secreting from the. Yeah.
Oh God. So, and the other thing was when they were all hitting on you at the end. I saw one of the photos of that, by the way. Afterwards, you got any phone numbers?
This one girl said she'd love to cut my hair.
Well, she
was a hairstylist.
What?
And she said she'd love to cut my hair. What does that mean? Does that mean she just wants me as a client?
She wants to take care of you.
That's what I was wondering. Does that mean she wants to take care of me? She said she'd love to cut my hair.
I like the person who commented on your Facebook that you should have cut your beard before you went to your Bina speech.
Yeah, that was the guy who runs Bina.
Oh, that was the guy who runs Bina?
Yeah, because I couldn't clip on my microphone because I had all this beard.
I actually put a like on his comment because if you're going to cut the beard anyways on Sunday, why would you not cut it before you go in to give that talk? I mean, this is the kind of things that sometimes about you that drive me crazy.
Well, I didn't realize I was going to cut my beard until late Saturday night when I realized that was holding up this money that I needed to borrow.
No, see, this is the difference between you and me. You're more impulsive. Everything with me is planned and calculated, and for months.
Right.
I don't just somebody goes, hey, we'll do something tomorrow. I'm like, oh no, it doesn't work. I'm not ready for that. That's fear and fright. I need time to prepare and gear up for things. I have everything planned. Very, very OCD.
Right,
okay?
right.
So I wouldn't wake up and cut my beard. I mean, that's just something that traumatic or that drastic as a beard cut, 6 months planning and everything. Maybe a year and a half planning.
So I got to meet some great girls, had some great conversations, and
okay.
And some of them came from Orthodox backgrounds. They were not so Orthodox today, but they'd gone to day schools, Jewish day schools.
Okay.
So they were knowledgeable in Torah.
All right.
And so I need you to explain to me, what does it mean? What's the significance if a hairstylist says to me after I give a talk, I'd love to cut your hair?
We just did this.
What does it really mean?
You just asked me this.
What does it really mean?
I don't know. It means you should have asked her what it means.
Well, I called and left a message. She gave me her card.
Yeah, but
So
deep breathing doesn't count as a message.
Why not?
All right.
Henry says I should have dropped my pants. This is a very intellectual salon. It wasn't a pants-dropping salon. This is like things are on a very elevated level, and like there are lofty discussions about economic causes of terrorism, and there was a talk on zombie movies, and it was all very, very elevated. So it was not the time to drop trow, Henry. Not to mention that goes completely against what the Torah stands for.
Were you the only Frummy who was talking that night?
Yes.
So you were representing us.
Yes.
And you were the only person talking about sex.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Am I making Jews look good? Is that called a Kiddush Hashem?
Yeah, I agree with Lakewood Rob. I'm a little bit upset about this. He said you should have auctioned off the right to cut your beard, and I wanted you to cut it on the show, and we'd have it on videotape, and it could have been very good. I could have cut some of it off. And, you just said, well, I woke up and it's gone, folks. And was like, everybody's like, where's the video? Where's the video of it? And it's nothing. You videotape everything. You know,